tires last night. You know, we felt like we had to save our tires last night, and today I thought I was saving them, and these guys were all over me, you know, all over me from the back and checking out from the front. So I thought I was doing a good job, but they just ran it hard all race long, and there at the end just tried to give it everything we had and try to keep the momentum built up. And sometimes it worked, other times it didn't, so we were kind of moving all over trying to find it, and luckily we just had enough.
Kyle, what was your read on the restart? I mean, that's where you really won the race, so that last restart. It looked like you were patient coming around, and then you just, you know, really were able to get a gap there without having Nick on your rear end.
Yeah, you know, is that who it was, Nick?
Yep.
Sorry. You know, I was rolling through 3, and he was getting a little bit antsy to go, and I'm like, nope, not yet, nope, not yet. Then I went, and I don't think he expected it, but you know, that's what you got to do in these short track worlds. You know, those guys, they always want to play a little bit on the restarts, and you know, sometimes tracks are always different. You know, you start in turn 3, start in the middle of 3 and 4, you pick up the pace, you don't shift, this, that, everything else. So I never really know any of the rules, so I just do what I've always done, and whether it's in the Cup Series or whatever. So I know the restart line there, you're supposed to go within the vicinity of, and that's what I waited for, so that's where I went.
When you made your pit stop there, did you feel that that was the right time to pit? Was that kind of the plan going in?
That was kind of the plan. It was actually a little bit early than we wanted to come in, but you know, we felt it as our best option to just come in, not take a chance on another long run. I think McDonald, that's what happened to him. You know, he fell back a ways, and then we were actually probably about a quarter lap from lapping him or something, and he got spun out there. But you know, it's just it's a matter of trying to play the game right. You know, certainly there's some strategy involved, and you know, today we thought 115 would be a little early, but you know, it seemed to work out just fine. It was within our vicinity. You know, we wanted to come at 125 right at halfway, and that was the closest we felt we'd probably get, so we decided to do it.
Took 4 tires.
Took 4 tires on the stop, that's right, yep. And a couple guys beat us out with 2, so wasn't sure if they were going to come back with 4 or not. I know Taylor, I think he stayed out the whole race, so he had a strong car, man. He was fast. I think finally he burned it up there at the end, though.
Did you notice a fade in the tires over the course of a run?
You would, yeah, especially their, last 50 laps or so, last 40 especially.
Yeah. Just like a good shot for like 10 laps, and then after that it's kind of just
yeah,
10th every 3 laps.
Exactly, you know, just kind of slick, and just trying to bide your time and be easy on it, not slip it too much, overheat it.
Question for Nick. He seemed to do a pretty good job of anticipating where you wanted to go and when you wanted to go. I mean, was it frustrating there to you?
No, not at all. He was making the car go where he needed it to go to keep the momentum up. This is a place you got to try to find lanes to work, and it's very hard, as you guys know, to get down low to try to make it work down there. You just get really free off, so if you get up too high, it gets tight. So he did exactly what he needed to do. He just won the race because he was a phenomenal race car driver.
But at the end, you were running down low and you were catching it.
Yeah, I was just trying to basically put the car wherever it needed to go to keep the speed up. I just wasn't letting that car get any farther ahead. And at the end there, that last lap, I just overdrove it trying to get to him. And I definitely had nothing for him, not enough time.
A question for Kyle. Did you come into this race feeling you had some unfinished business after 250s you ran a few years ago?
No, you never really feel like any racetrack owes you or anything like that. You know, certainly I have had my fair share of problems here in the past, you know, with the lug nut issue and cutting the tire down or whatever it was, and then you know, blowing the engine there. But I've had fast race cars here in the past, you know, and it's been fun to race around here. It's a neat little racetrack, so it's certainly got its little quirks and bumps and little other things, you know. You're backwards offset down the front straightaway, and then you fall back into the turn, you know. So it's just, you try to get into a rhythm, you know. You try to forget about other things and things going on around you and get into your rhythm. That seems to be the biggest thing that helped me tonight, is just trying to find that and keep it going.
Now, what are your plans for the car now? Maybe let TJ drive it once or twice?
Well, I think the price tag just went up on it. So if anybody wants it, they can have it. Otherwise, it's going home.
Kyle, what's the first thing you're going to say to Harvick when you see him?
Nothing. Nothing.
Kyle, did you think someone would Nick or somebody would have something for you once you in the last 16 laps after you got the good restart?
Oh, sure. Nick, man, he come from a long ways back. You know, there when he came and got tires, he started deep in the field and worked his way up, and I'm sure he was saving a little bit, but it's hard to save a whole lot, you know, in traffic. So I thought there at the end, if I could just get a good restart and not have to worry about racing side by side with somebody off turn 2. I figured we'd run side by side through 1 and 2, but we didn't, fortunately for me. But you know, I needed to just have the racetrack. You know, it was just all about trying to get the momentum rolling again. You know, like he said, you know, when you run, like Nick said, when you run on the bottom and you kind of pinch it low, you get a little bit tight, and then you try to throttle up, and then you're just too loose up off if you're trying to hold it underneath somebody. So you really need to let it kind of float out and use up all the racetrack.
Austin, this is for you. This is a family-run car. How proud of you to be where you're at right now?
Yeah, sure. You know, with the RPM car, we kind of took a break from that this week, being in a non-points race and all that. You know, we had a good car. That's why we took it. We raced Saturday, and really one of the best cars I've ever had here. So, I mean, why not take it? Biggest race of the year, and it paid off. I can't thank my guys anymore. You know, top 3 years, phenomenal. Last year we didn't even qualify. You know, we learned a lot of lessons and came back, and here we are now.
This question is for Nicky and Austin. You guys came from pretty humble beginnings, and I guess Kyle, you did too with local racing, but, you know, Austin, you came from Spud Speedway. I mean...
Where's that?
Yeah, exactly. And Nick, you came in from 4 Cylinders over in Vermont. I mean, and just a few years later, not even a decade later, you're on the podium, you know, behind Kyle Busch, and Austin, you're 17 years old. You know, does any of that ever go through your heads, and is it right now?
Not really. It was just another good race for us. Hopefully we just have many, many more.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I mean, age, being young is okay, but it doesn't give you anything over someone who's 40 or something. I mean, we're all race car
I
drivers,
think this
right?
guy's still young.
I feel old now.
I'm just saying, you know, we're all race car drivers, and if you have,
I would have passed you for 21 if it makes you feel any better.
we'll put the car wherever it needs to go, you know.
Kyle, what's the next KBM short track race?
You know, we're not sure. For me, I think we're done, unfortunately. Yeah, KBM cars. We're running Lake Erie with somebody else's stuff in a couple weeks. So KBM stuff, I don't know what we're doing, so we'll just, Bonds might know, but otherwise I think we're still planning out our schedule. I think the Winchester race is open. I want to run the Derby, but I don't want to run the Derby. The wife doesn't want me to run the Derby. So
You might be busy that week.
I hope I'm busy that weekend, so hopefully we're celebrating a Cup championship, certainly.
Coming back next year?
If I'm invited, certainly. We might have the opportunity, and you know, we'll see what the wife says.
What about you two? You coming back next year?
I'm going to try to beat him if he comes back.
That's what
I hate losing.
Yeah.
Kyle, now that you've been here several times, can you compare or describe the competition you faced from drivers on this track?
You know, it's certainly different between the 2 series with the past series. You know, the different cars, how the cars feel and react and everything. And you know, these cars here, they're so close, and it almost reminds me of a Cup race. You know, and running around here with cars that essentially run the same speed all the time. And you know, it's not that they don't have motor or you know anything like that make them slow or sluggish. It's you're locked in a box. You know, you can only do so much. So you really got to think outside the box and try to come up with something that's unique and in its own to win here. And certainly these guys did a great job of setting up their cars this weekend. And you know, we didn't know that we had a shot. You know, we thought we'd be 8th, 5th, 6th place car, something like that, and that's kind of where we rode for a little while. But you know, we ran every single practice session today. There were times where we had 140, 160 laps on our tires, just trying to use them up as much as we could. And you know, we only bolted on maybe 2 or 3 sets of tires for practice this whole weekend through 3 days. So that you know, whether that's beneficial or not, certainly we needed track time to get used to a brand new car and kind of work the bugs out.